Welcome, my alumni friends. My name is Jim Wright. I'm the Director of Alumni Services. And yes, we're back for another week of Facebook Live that'll also be posted on our YouTube channel. So, today, man, I don't know about you, but it has been cold, cold and snowy in northern Illinois. And I know that, from what I could read, right, and what we watch is that there is a lot of weather. So I hope everybody's staying very, very, very warm, being able to not get a backache from shoveling snow or however we're doing that. So, but anyway, thank you again. We will continue every Friday um, at 12 noon, and we'll continue to have great themes, and we'll have alumni, and we'll have staff, and this is going to continue throughout the 2021 year. This is amazing that we can continually do this on a virtual basis. I again am so grateful. I hope there are a number of people on today. So today we're talking a little bit about working together. Work together is our primary purpose. I'm sure a number of you have heard that. And we have invited, who's become a very good friend, coworker, Mark Knott, who is our Caseyville Swansea counselor. He is been a great advocate for alumni and people that he's been able to help through the years. And so, a little bit about Mark. He has, been sober since May of 1994. He has a phenomenal story about how this came about. He's a 12-stepper like I am, and that the relationship we had to helping other people in recovery. He decided to get his certified to be a counselor and to also help with alumni relations for over 16 years. That's a long time, right? A long time, Mark. So we would like to welcome Mark to the screen. Hey, Mark.
Hey, how's it going, everybody? And Jim, grateful to be here today.
All right. Well, thank you for joining us today. And one thing before we get started, we wanted to make sure that please, if you are on this live broadcast, send us a question to me, to Mark, to both of us about Gateway, or comment and how things are working for you, because this is a really our session is really developed and it's into a conversation and to talk a little bit about what's going on in your lives right now. So please send us questions or comments so that we can post towards the end after Mark shares. Okay, Mark, go ahead and share your story, your recovery journey, how you work together, and I know that's been your primary purpose. So go ahead.
Okay. Like you already said, I got clean in May of 1994, 17th. And I'm not going to really do a drunk-a-log or a drug-a-log. All I'm going to say is the drinking and the drugging is a miserable place to live your life. And at one point or another, we get so sick and tired of it, hopefully, that we have a desire to make a change. And then if we follow that desire with just half the energy that we put into our drinking and drugging, you cannot fail. But you have to chase this on a daily basis, just like you chase that drink or that drug. And the misery starts going away a little bit, and life seems better. And then you start learning about from this great group of individuals in the NA and AA programs. They help teach us how to live life on life's terms. And that's where that working together consistently comes in on a daily basis. And that's what I really love about the program is, these new people that come in off the streets and they come in and man, you can just see, that disease is still out there and it's miserable, even more so today than it was, years ago. And it's nice to see these people take this opportunity and then they start getting clean and sober and you see this brightness, this shine come back into their eyes. And it's that life, they're no longer just existing on this world. They're starting to live life. They're coming off of the sidelines and they're getting into that game. And it's so wonderful to see, especially when they really jump full in, and then they start talking about what's going on with them, what's going on, and then they start listening to, well, the solution. How do you get through just today without drinking and drugging? And that's what that working together is all about, is I'm learning more and more ways, even today with X amount of years, that number is just an X, The only thing that really holds any value is what I do today. And I truly am a firm believer of that, because today is all I got, and I want today to be clean and sober. I wake up every day and I tell a lot of my alumni and a lot of my clients that my daily goal is to make it back home to my bed, and I make my bed every day because I don't want to smoke crack. And I make my bed every day because I don't want to be in that world of misery. And I make my bed every day because I love the feeling when I come home at night, I get to pull those covers back and crawl in between that freshly made bed and sleep with a clear conscience. But I don't do that alone. I've never been able to do this alone. I got into a world of misery with a lot of other people, and I came out of that world of misery with a lot of other people. I just changed my people. A really huge part of, getting clean and sober is I got to change my people. And I found that if I change my people, then my places change too. And then those people who were much, much smarter than myself taught me something. They said, Mark, at the end of the day, here's the reality, man. You don't have a drinking and drugging problem. You have this thinking problem. And you think that drinking and drugging is going to make your life better. Well, how many times have you been arrested and how many times has drinking and drugging been involved? Well, how much misery have you been in and how often times were drinking and drugging involved? And you had this thought that it was going to make everything better. It was going to be the life of the party.
Yeah.
But what I found from this group of people who are much smarter than myself still today, that I get the best relationships. I get the best quality of life. I get the best of everything without putting a substance in my system. I get real relationships with people. People call me up, and it's not because what I may have for them. They call me up because I have something for them. I have 2 ears. I can listen. And then I have this heart, and I can feel. And I can give them compassion and love and understanding today. Once upon a time, I drank and I drugged to fill this great big hole I had. I didn't even know I had it. But now I don't have this hole in my heart anymore. It's filled with so much compassion and so much love for all these people that I still have yet to meet. And that's one of the beauties about working together is I get to meet people like you, Jim. And I've learned so much from you. And I get to meet people even with 4 and 5 years recovery in, and they continue to teach me something. And then that new person coming right off the street, they're teaching me something also. And that's why I always tell the newcomer is, you're the most important person in this room because you're teaching me, you're reminding me. And I got to listen to you because you might have something to say that's going to save my life that I'd never heard before. Or maybe you'll put it in a way that's going to touch me and remind me of something that I need to do. And so that primary purpose of working together is not just about my sobriety, but it also goes into, I'm incredibly blessed today because I get to work in a community where, from the CEO of this community that I work for called Gateway Foundation, down to, C1s, nurses, clinical supervisors, all these counselors, our primary purpose is to help. What an amazing community. I don't know of too many people who get to work in that community. I do. I've gotten this graceful chance to do it for 16 years. That's amazing. Now, if you had told me, X amount of years ago that this was what I was going to be doing, I'd be like, really? What are you on? And Jim, I'm sure you can relate with me on that. It's amazing, and what I love more than anything else is this group of kids coming in. I call these clients kids, and I call them my kids because I get to try and help these kids. Even if they're older than me, they're still my kid because I'm trying to help them and give them freely what was given to me. So in hopes that they can turn around and give what was freely given to me and what I freely give to them freely to someone else. And so this process of working together never really ends. It just continues in a very, very spiritual way. We take that good karma that we've been blessed with and we pass it on. And I think that's part of the beauty. It's just a really great job. It's a great community. And when you get around the tables of AA and NA or refuge recovery or smart recovery or whatever your recovery is, you're going to find out that you get people who are smarter than you to help you learn how to stay clean and sober. You're going to develop a spiritual program. And that spiritual program really comes down to people teaching you how to treat yourself like your own best friend. I mean, because how many of us would tell our best friends to do some of the stuff we did back in the day? There's good reasons why we told our best friends not to do that because we don't want to see them get hurt. Well, now this group of people taught me that, hey, you need to be your own best friend. And if you wouldn't let your best friend do something, then maybe you need to think about that. And that's that beauty part, man. We still get to work together. And no matter what the program is, it's just really, it's a really beautiful journey. And I say that all the time, that this is a process. And I tell everybody I come into contact with that recovery is this one word. It's healing. That's a process. If you ever had stitches, if you ever had anything, it's always a process of healing. And that's what this process of recovery is. And the cool part about it is I don't have to do it alone. I get to work with other people. And they're right there with me, doing it all along. So we get to heal together. Yep. And that makes that that healing process a little bit smoother.
Okay. Thank you, Mark. We got, let's see here. This is from Monica Schmidt. I'm sober 1 year and 5 months as of 2/21, but my partner is not sober. I'm struggling with that. Any advice that you may have for her?
That's a tough one. Sometimes we have to make a choice of what's more important in our lives, our recovery and staying sober, or being in a relationship. And I can't tell you what to do. That's something that you have to come to terms with. And if a relationship is going to jeopardize your sobriety, which in turn jeopardizes your happiness, you know, it could lead you back to, you know, the misery. That's something you might need to consider. Jim, you have?
I do. You know, I'll read this comment, then I'll share. It's from Jackie, our friend Jackie. Congratulations, Maya, on your clean time. I had a similar experience. It's so hard, but ultimately I had to choose recovery. Everyone has a different pathway, but I started asking myself, what am I risking by staying, and was it worth it, losing myself and my newfound happiness? That is so true. The fact that I actually was able to reconnect and marry a wonderful woman that drank normally or didn't drink or didn't really care. So everybody's a little bit different. Actually, in some ways, I was somewhat relieved that there was someone normal in regards to her own choices. But I know I know of a number of people I've worked with through the years of my 27 and a half years of recovery and now working with Gateway. I do suggest the same thing. You have to put your recovery first, Monica. It's a very strong suggestion, but you do that because if I was around, and I think Mark feels this way and Jackie feels this way, if we were around it again, especially, it's not just the alcohol, it's usually everything that becomes part of the party again. So anyway, I think that's a great question. So you'll have to do what's required to stay sober. And I think that's the way we all look at this. Got another comment here. I want a long-term, this is from Willis Trotter. I want long-term sobriety. Also, I'm 173 days sober. Yay, Willis. I'm grateful for you sharing your experience, strength, and hope. Thank you, Willis, for sharing that.
Thank you, Willis. Great. Appreciate you. And Monica, also congratulations on your clean time. Jim and I were talking earlier that if we were fresh in recovery right now during this time, it'd be incredibly hard. And that's why right now it is so much more important now more than ever that we work together in recovery. 173 days, man. That is phenomenal. Phenomenal.
It is. Let's see. Okay, I got a question for you, Mark. Let's see. I was thinking, working for one company, doing what you're doing for a living for over 16 years. What was probably, I know there are probably many, many, many with the people you've been working with, but what is one of your top positive experiences by working with clients at Gateway?
I reconnected with a former alumni, and he had been in and out of Gateway, multiple times. And when I reconnected with him, he had 2 years in sobriety, and he started sharing his story with me a little bit. And he died in a McDonald's bathroom from an overdose. And they brought him back after 9.5 minutes.
Oh my gosh.
Right. And he's like, when I woke up, I knew I didn't want to ever do this again. And he's like, and the first thing I did was I got help. And he's like, he's like, I'll do anything I ever have to do. It doesn't matter as long as it takes me away from that drug. I don't care anymore. He's like, I want something different. And so for 2.5 years, over 2.5 years now, he's been doing that same thing. And he works in a community similar to up north in Illinois and doing the same thing, and he's like, man, I just love being able to give back. And he says this word, I get to, and that's beautiful to me. When I hear someone say those things, that's really, really cool.
Wow. Thank you for sharing that, Mark.
Yeah.
Jackie has another question for you, and probably me, but more you than me. How do you separate your own recovery and work?
Okay. That's a great question. Work is work. And so there are certain things I'm not going to do. And there's certain parts of my story I don't share. And there's certain things I don't do. Because that's work. I do share quite a bit of my story, but there are certain things I just don't share. Because I always talk about the misery and the pain. And then with my recovery, that's where I sit down, I shut up, and I listen. And I have this group of 5 guys that I'm consistently badgering because I graduated not from one sponsor, but I have 5 now, more or less.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
And it's really it's not difficult, but it's very interesting. And sometimes you do have to be careful. I do know one thing. Every day I go to work, I'm going to a meeting.
Yep.
Because I'm gonna hear some people share, and that's really nice. Thank you, Monica. I appreciate you.
Yep, definitely. I agree with you. When I remember looking at the opportunity of working for Gateway, and I thought, boy, I've come full circle, because I was so involved with other 12-step central offices, the district, even on a regional basis, to do events and to help people come back to a sober and abstinent event. And have you ever led any type of events? I know you have, I guess maybe out of Caseyville, but anything beyond Gateway in that way?
Not so much led, but been a part of, and like different float trips or camping trips, stuff like that. Long time ago in early recovery, me and another guy, we organized a bunch of people to go rock climbing out in the Southwest. And that was a really interesting time.
I bet. And everybody got back safely, right?
And even more astonishing, everybody remembered everything. There was no, oh man, what happened? It's all, oh my gosh, I can't believe that happened. Oh my gosh, I can't believe that happened. It's that, wow, because after we came back, we all talked about it about 2 weeks later, and we're talking about different things we remembered, and everyone's like, oh yeah. And it's like, yeah.
And I think Mark, what you're sharing too is that recovery, you're entering into a new family.
Yeah.
And it does become permanent. And some people come or leave the family and do come back. And like your story about that gentleman. And the fact is that is reality. This addiction, the substance use disorder, or the addictions don't go away. They're not curable.
Yeah.
But we can abstain and get in way of each other. And I talked to a sponsor. I hadn't talked to him in 6 years. And he had the same phone number. He picked up, he says, Jim, where are you now? And he said, you know what he said? I just got today. I said, that's my 34-year man, that's been sober. And he said,
Yeah.
unbelievable amount of time. So that just goes to show you that he's still from our family. We miss you. When are you coming back to Louisiana?
Yeah. I think me and you have both said this word a couple times, community.
Yeah.
And people may move out of their community, but whenever they come back, they're always welcomed.
Absolutely.
And
that's a genuine, right? That's the awakening that comes into this process, like you said earlier.
Yeah. Incredibly grateful for the life I have today. Yep. People always ask, what do you value more than anything else? Well, I can tell you something. It's nothing material. One of the most things I value today is my 86-year-old mother is still alive. Is surviving the pandemic and get to go have coffee with her every other weekend. And I pick up some donuts from the local bakery there in O'Fallon, Illinois, Woods Bakery. And I take them over there, and there's no time schedule. It's whenever she's ready to say, Mark, it's time you get out. She's never said that once, though.
Yep.
And that's, I don't have to buy her anything or, overcompensate for time when I wasn't there. It's just right now I get to give her a little bit of my time, and it's that gift, those relationships are gifts. You gotta.
Well, we don't have any other new questions or comments, Mark. So this is probably coming at a good point. We do just want to let everybody know that, Gateway Foundation's open. Our helpline number just came on. And also, boy, if you need a way to connect, our Gateway Connect app, which is on the right, it's so easy. It's gatewayfoundation.org. It'll come up. You can download a free app to through Google Play or through your iPhone Apple Store. And, we are here for you. We don't, I love what Mark said earlier. We don't quit. But we can share about our own, why you don't need to go through the misery and the good, bad, and ugly, right? I mean,
Right.
There are so many ways to come out of it together. And that is our primary purpose of what we're sharing today from both of us. And anyway, I am so grateful, Mark. I just thank you for coming on today. You're, very, very, very important to Gateway. You have become a good friend. I can't wait until I'm driving down to Caseyville or Swansea to do a virtual hug, right? So again, thank you all for coming on today. Mark, you have anything else you'd like to wrap up with?
Thank you for the opportunity to do this. And I want to give a quick shout out to some of my kids out there. Brittany, Sean, Jeremy, keep doing this dang thing. You're doing good. Dayton, your 6-string devil, play the guitar, stay sober. And for everyone that I'm forgetting, man, thank you so much for being a part of my journey.
Great.
Appreciate you, and I love you guys.
Okay, well, very good. Next week, we'll have another topic, and Lamont Taylor says this is good information. So we appreciate you, and please come on. Look out for the alerts next week. We'll be on at 12 noon, and I may have a mystery guest. I don't know yet, so we'll have to work that out. But again, thank you so much, Mark, for coming on today, and what a wonderful, powerful time for people that need to hear that you can stay sober and abstinent from alcohol and drugs. So,
Oh, real quick again, another shout out to Sandy.
okay. Yep. That's right. Sandy was on
Thank you.
earlier. Okay. All right. We thank you so much, everybody.
Thank you, everybody.